So I'm going to go for yellow now. You can do the same thing. You can plan out where you want them to go, or you can just go for it. Make sure you're remembering to squeeze out your brush, and then you're ready to just brush it on and get those colored squares in there. Right now I've finished my yellow here, so it's time to go in for some red. Just going to repeat the same thing. Important thing to remember with this red is, as always, we're squishing our brush, and once you put a square down, try not to brush on top of the tissue paper too much. Try to only use like a dabbing, tapping motion like that, okay? Because that way the color will stay right there on top of that tissue paper and you won't brush it off onto a place where you don't want it. Like if I brushed this way, I might brush some of that red onto my light yellow, and I don't want that. So if you just stick to doing this light tapping motion, you should be okay. Once you have your third color done, we're ready to move on to the white, but I don't know if you can see it here in my brush. I've got quite a bit of that red color in there. So now's a good time to go and give that a nice rinse before we start on our white. Okay, now that my brush is nice and clean, I'm ready to fill in the rest of my spaces with white. Something that is important at this step is when you're going in and putting the glue onto the space and onto the black frame, try your best not to sponge too much onto any of the red. Like I said, that red really likes to spread its color around. So if you do sponge on top of some red, you'll probably get some red in your brush, and then when you go to brush it on, you'll get like some pink, light red color in there, and it'll just turn your white kind of pink. So if you don't want that, try to stay away from that red. Just let it do its thing and dry. Once you get all of your spaces filled in, you'll need to let this dry for at least an hour or so. Because the paper is so thin and our glue is really thin, it shouldn't take too long to dry. In fact, some of the spaces that you did first might be almost dry. But let this sit for a little while. If after a while, once it starts to get dry, if you want to come back and do another layer, that might be a nice thing to do. The red has a lot of color in it and has like a nice bright color to it with even just one layer. But I will say the yellow is pretty pale. So if you want to do another layer of yellow, if you want to have a brighter color, another layer would help you with that. And same with the white, it's pretty thin. So if you want to do another layer of white just to help your project be a little bit sturdier, you can do that as well. I really like this project. I find it really relaxing. So if you're like me and just want to spend some time doing something with your hands, this is a really nice thing to do. You can just keep adding layers to it to make those colors even richer and brighter, and your project will be even sturdier. So let this dry for a while, come back and do some layers if you feel like it, and once it's all dry, we will do one more coat of glue before we're done.